Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and now in this video we will be understanding what is photoelectric effect. But before starting with this video, I have a small request for you all. It will be better if you watch my previous video which is on Planck's quantum theory and then come to this video. It is a very short video of 8 to 10 minutes. You can find the link in the description box. So without wasting time, we will start with this video now. So in the till now what we have seen is that light travels in the form of electromagnetic waves. And it was Max Planck who told us that these electromagnetic waves consist of small energy packets. Okay, now these small energy packets were named as photons in case of light. Now, as we all know, in a single electromagnetic wave, there are many such small energy packets. Okay, therefore they were called as photons. But what is one packet called as? One energy packet is known as photon. So what I want to tell you all is that photons is nothing but the plural form of photon. You might be thinking what I am telling like a small kid, but this is important for us. Photon is what is going to help us understand the photoelectric effect ahead. Okay. Now what we do in a photoelectric effect is that we take a metal plate. Okay. Now since we are taking a metal plate, first let us understand the basic construction of metal atom. So when it comes to metal atom, we have a positively charged nucleus and somewhat in the outermost shell there are one or two electrons. Okay, these two electrons are held by this nucleus. That is, there is a force of attraction between the nucleus and the electron, which is not allowing the electrons to come out of the atom. The nucleus is holding those electrons. Okay, so now I am just going to show these free loosely bound electrons over here. That is, I am not going to completely show this atom, but I am only going to show these loosely bound electrons in the metal plate. Now why I am been saying loosely bound, because the force of attraction between this nucleus and the electron is not that strong, but it does exist. Okay, now what is the motive of the photoelectric effect? The what we do in photoelectric effect is that we incident a ray of light. Okay, so here we incident a ray of light. Now this ray of light travels in the form of electromagnetic wave, and this electromagnetic wave consists of many small photons. But here, for our better understanding, I am going to consider only one photon. Out of those many such photons, I am only going to consider a single photon over here. Okay, now what happens is that when this photon is going to hit on this outermost electron, this electron will absorb energy of photon. In other words, the energy present in this photon, what is the energy present in this photon? H mu. Okay, this we have done in the previous video. This is the energy present in one photon. So this photon is going to give away all its energy to this electron. Okay, now since this electron has absorbed energy from photon, therefore the energy of an electron now has increased. So can I say that the energy of this electron has increased now? because it has absorbed the energy of the photon. Am I right? These electrons are which electrons? These electrons are nothing but the representation of these electrons only, right? I have represented these electrons over here. So now this outermost shell electron is going to gain energy. Now after it gains energy, it will overcome force of attraction of nucleus. Earlier I said that the nucleus is not allowing the electron to move out of the atom. But now the electron has got more energy, and since it has got energy, it will overcome the force of attraction, and after it overcomes the force of attraction, it is going to come out of this atom. Okay, so now this electron is free from the nucleus and it has come out of the atom. So it is free from the force of attraction of nucleus and it has come out of the atom. Now there are certain conditions on this photon, which means that every photon cannot help this electron to come out. Okay, now what are those conditions? Let's understand. Suppose your outermost electron, I have drawn here again because here there is a mess over here, so therefore I have represented here separately. Suppose this outermost electron wants to get free from this force of attraction of nucleus. It requires 5 joules of energy. We have just assumed it. Okay, this is a pure assumption that the electron requires 5 joules of energy to get free from the force of attraction of nucleus. And suppose your photon has only 3 joules of energy. So now what is going to happen? This 3 joules energy photon is going to give all its energy to this electron. Okay, so now the electron has 3 joules of energy. But is this 3 joules of energy any use for this electron? No. Why? Because it requires at least 5 joules of energy to overcome the force of attraction. If it has 5 energy at least, or more than 5 joules, then only it can overcome the force of attraction and come out of the atom. But these 3 joules is of no use. Therefore, now can I say that the electron completely depends on the energy of photon? Okay, which means that if the energy of photon is greater, then only the electron will be able to come out of the atom. Otherwise, it won't be able to come out of the atom. Now, since this electron depends on energy of photon, and what is the formula for energy of photon? H into mu. Okay, now I want you all to focus on this formula, which is nothing but H mu. Okay, here what you observe is that this H is nothing but the Planck's constant. Am I right? This H is Planck's constant. And what is the value of this H? The value of H is nothing but 6.62 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. So is the value of H going to change? No. Whatever might be the energy, the value of H is never going to change. It is always going to remain the same value, which is the 6.62 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. So here this mu is the variable parameter. Now what I mean by variable parameter? Now according to Planck's theory, what we have seen is that E is directly proportional to mu. And what is this mu? Mu is nothing but the frequency of this light. This light which we are incidenting on a metal plate, it is the frequency of that light. Now if you don't know what is the frequency of light, you can find the link in the description box. Don't worry about that. Okay, now this energy of photon completely depends on the frequency of light, which means that since it is directly proportional, if I increase the frequency of light, the energy of photon is also going to increase. Am I right? And suppose if I decrease the frequency of light, ultimately the energy of photon is also going to decrease. Okay, now our electron requires minimum of 5 joules of energy. Okay, now suppose we incident a photon which has 10 joules of energy. Okay, so we have incident a photon which has 10 joules of energy. So now will this 10 joules of energy help this electron to come out of the nuclear, out of the atom? Yes, it will surely help this electron to overcome the force of attraction, because it requires only 5 joules and 10 joules is more than enough, much more than enough. Okay, so 10 joules is going to help us. Now what I do is that I decrease the frequency. Okay, I decrease the frequency of this light. So if I decrease the frequency of the light, the energy of photon is also going to decrease. Let's say from 8 joules it comes out to be 7 joules, 8 joules. Sorry, from 10 joules it becomes 8 joules. Since we have decreased the frequency, the energy is also going to decrease. Therefore the energy has now become 8 joule. Now further on, again I decrease the frequency. Okay, now since again I have decreased the frequency, let's say that the energy of photon has now become 5 joules. And what is 5 joules? 5 joules is nothing but the least amount of energy required for this electron to overcome the forces of attractions. Okay, coming back to our diagram, let's say that I further on again increase the frequency. Now suppose I increase the frequency again, what is going to happen is that the energy of photon is going to decrease. Let's say that the energy of photon has now decreased to 4 joules. So now if the energy of photon has decreased to 4 joules, will there be emission of electron, which means that will the electron be able to come out of the structure of atom? No, because it requires minimum 5 joules and we are supplying 4 joules of energy. So this frequency, this is that frequency below which if you decrease the frequency, there will be no emission of electrons, that is there will be no ejection of electrons from the metal plate, because since you have decreased the frequency, the energy has also decreased. So this is the minimum frequency required at any conditions for your electron to come out, which means that not any conditions but it requires at least this amount of frequency. Am I right? If you decrease the frequency below that, then there will be no emission of electron, that is the electron will not come out of the structure of atom. This minimum frequency is known as threshold frequency. Okay, so this frequency below which you cannot decrease the frequency is known as threshold frequency. Now if you want to define threshold frequency, how will you define threshold frequency? It is the minimum amount of frequency required for ejection of electron. Okay, so threshold frequency is that frequency which cannot be further on decreased. Okay, it is the minimum amount of frequency required for the ejection of electron. Now this threshold frequency is not represented by a normal frequency sign, it is represented as mu naught. Okay, so this threshold frequency is represented as mu naught. Now since this is the minimum frequency, okay, this is the minimum frequency, and corresponding to it we are having the minimum energy required. Am I right? This is the minimum energy required for our electron, that is the 5 joules to overcome the force of attraction which we have assumed. Okay, so can I say this is our minimum energy required? So 5 joules is the minimum energy required. I am again mentioning these 5 joules we have taken for our understanding. This won't be 5 joules, it will be some other value. It depends on which metal you are taking and which light you are incidenting. Am I right? So the minimum energy required for the ejection, I will write over here. Okay, so it will be better for you all to understand. So the minimum energy required for ejection of electron is called as threshold energy. So we have understood what is threshold frequency, it is represented by mu naught, and we have also understood what is threshold energy. Okay, as we all seen that the threshold frequency is represented as mu naught, this threshold energy, which is our this energy 5 joules minimum energy required for the electron, will be represented as E naught. Okay, this may now not be given in your textbook. It is okay even if you don't mention it. Okay, I will suggest that if it is not given in textbook, then please do not mention it. Okay, now it was again the great Einstein who gave us the Einstein's photoelectric equation. So now we are going to understand what is Einstein's photoelectric equation. Now what does this Einstein's photoelectric equation states? That h mu, which is the energy of an photon, is equals to h mu naught, which is the minimum energy required for the photon to come out. As we have seen over here that this 5 joules is the minimum energy required, and if you want to find out the minimum energy required, what will the formula? E is equals to h. H is a constant value, and what is the variable value? If you want to find out the minimum energy required, you have to take minimum frequency required. E is equals to h mu naught. This is the formula for threshold energy. Sorry that I did not mention it earlier. Okay, so this is equals to h mu naught plus half mv square. Now you might be wondering what is this formula all about. Okay, so now what does Einstein said is that this is the energy of photon greater than required, which means that if you incident a photon whose energy is more than required energy, as we have seen earlier that here what example we have taken, that our electron requires a minimum of 5 joules of energy. So suppose you incident a photon who has 8 joules of energy. So out of these 8 joules of energy, 5 joules of energy is what is the minimum required energy. So out of this 8 joules of energy of photon, 5 joules of energy of photon is required to remove the electron from the atom. So 5 joules of energy will be consumed in removing the electron from the atom. Now the remaining 3 joules of energy will be left with the electron in the form of kinetic energy. Okay, so what we have seen, that if we incident a photon which has greater amount of energy than the required, so out of this 8, 5 joules, which is the required energy, minimum required energy to take that electron out from the atom, will be consumed, and the remaining energy will be left with the electron, and with the help of this kinematic energy, the electron will be able to flow with greater velocity. Okay, now this was the Einstein's photoelectric equation, for which Sir Einstein was given a Nobel Prize in something 1921, I guess. Yeah, 1921. Yeah, he was awarded a Nobel Prize for this wonderful equation, which states that if we supply greater amount of energy, then the required energy will be consumed for removing that electron, for overcoming the force of attraction, and the remaining energy will be left out with the electron. Okay, so if you have not understood this equation, I am going to help you all understand again. See, we have supplied an photon of 8 joules. So this 8 joules photon will hit the electron and it will eject it. Now since for ejecting this photon out of the electron out of the atom, it has consumed 5 joules. So 8 out of 8, 5 joules has been consumed for removing him out, and the remaining 3 joules will be left with this electron, and with the help of these 3 joules the electron will travel with greater velocity. Okay, now I want you all to focus ahead. These are the two crucial points which I am going to now discuss with you all. The first point, okay, if greater intensity light is incident, then there will be greater emission of electrons. Now what does this point state? First of all, for understanding this point, it is necessary for us to know what is intensity. Am I right? Okay, suppose this is a wave, and here again I am taking another wave. Okay, so now here, suppose in this wave, we all know this electromagnetic wave is formed of photons. Suppose there are photons here, 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 here. Can you observe one thing in this wave is that the photons are very far away from each other. Okay, whereas we consider another wave with greater intensity. And what is the meaning of greater intensity? That is, the number of photons is large. There are many number of photons very close to each other. So if we incident this ray, wave, what is going to happen is that every photon will emit one electrons. So let's say here in this wave there are 20 photons. So 20 electrons will be emitted. Am I right? For emitting an electron you require only one photon. So in this wave there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if 5 photons are present, 6 photons are present, only 6 electrons will be emitted. So what we have seen here is that greater the intensity, greater will be the emission of electrons, and lesser the intensity, lesser will be the emission of electrons. I hope this point is clear. If greater intensity of light is incident, then there will be greater emission of electrons. Now the second point to be noted is that the kinetic energy of electron depends on frequency of light. Here we have seen that energy is completely dependent on the frequency of light, which means that if we have a photon which has greater frequency, therefore the energy will be more, and since energy is more, here we can observe this h mu will be greater. If this h mu will be greater, then only, let's say this h mu is 10, so out of 10 5 will be consumed and 5 will be 7 will be 5 will be left. Am I right? So out of 10 joules, 5 joules will be consumed and 5 joules will be left out. Now suppose your frequency is much more greater. So if frequency is much more greater, then this energy of photon will be, let's say, 20. So if energy is 20, then out of 20 only 5 will be used and the remaining 15 will be left out as kinetic energy with the electron. So I hope you have understood these 2 points. These 2 points are very crucial when it comes to your examination. And one thing I want to mention here is that if the electrons are not being emitted, okay, as we have seen over here, if the electrons are not being emitted because of less energy, then it depends completely on the frequency, okay, which means that frequency is responsible for less energy and it has nothing to play with intensity. There is no role of intensity over here. The only factor affecting for less energy is frequency. Guys, please note this. If you want greater energy or lesser energy, you have to change the frequency accordingly. Intensity only increases the number of emission faster, okay. Intensity is only for greater number of emissions. It is not having any role when it comes to your energy, okay. Have I said any over here that the energy will be greater? No. If photons will be greater, then the emission will be greater. That is, one electron requires only one photon for its emissions. So guys, this was all about your photoelectric effect and your Einstein's photoelectric equation. If you have liked this video, then please do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more such interesting videos on class 11th and 12th physics and chemistry, and do hit the like button. If you have any doubts, don't hesitate to comment below, and do share this video with your friends as well. Guys, thanks for watching this video.